Hey, everybody, welcome back to Q Tips. We are the Video Store Junkies, and we are back once again to bring you a few selections to watch over the weekend on streaming. And we're going to get right into this, and I'm going to toss this over to Zach.
Renee, do you ever feel do you, do you ever feel like maybe you're actually not the one choosing your recommendations? Do you ever feel like maybe there's I don't know, there's some sort of some voice influencing you? Um
Mm.
Almost as if when you make a recommendation it's because God told you to.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, that's a coincidence. I never felt that way because I'm not crazy, but maybe you have. But coincidentally, that ties into my first recommendation this week, which is 1976 Larry Cohen film, which I had managed not to watch up until this point, but I was super sick last week, so I watched a bunch of movies, and this was one of them. The name of the film is God Told Me To. And
Yay.
the
Yep.
premise of this one, as with many Larry Cohen films, the premise is pretty brilliant and it's pretty straightforward, and it goes in a lot of crazy directions. The basic plot here is that there is a New York detective who is investigating some murders, and in every case, the murderer just started randomly killing people, and then they were heard to say, usually right before they die, that God told them to. So yeah, this is a. If you're not familiar with Larry Cohen, he's man. I'd love to almost do like a whole episode on Larry Cohen because I feel
Oh,
like
yeah.
he's really fascinating.
Yeah.
He is like I don't know. I feel like he could have been a big like Hollywood writer director, except he refused to do films that were 100% conventional. So like this is a perfect example. It starts off in one place and goes to a very different place. I'm not going to spoil anything, but yeah. So really kind of interesting take on this concept. And yeah, that's I thought I had something else to say about it, but now my mind has gone blank. Um, but this one's playing on Shudder, Prime Video, and Pluto TV. So highly recommend you check it out. It's a cult classic, and I've been aware of this film for a very very long time. It's one of those movies for some reason I just haven't watched it, and then now that I have seen it, I'm like, wow, I wish I had watched this a long time ago. For a long time, I thought the name of this film was actually God Told Me to Kill because that was on like the old video, like when it was getting reissued in like the 90s. I think that was the first time I read about it, and it was like that was the DVD case, so it said
Mm.
"kill" on it. But anyways, totally irrelevant. Also, one kind of interesting little piece of trivia here. The first on-screen appearance of none other than Andy Kaufman. And
Yes.
I know that because I was like, when I saw him, and I'm not going to say where he is, you got to look out for him, see if you can spot him, because when I saw him, I was like, that looks a hell of a lot like Andy Kaufman. There's no way. And then I looked it up, and it was indeed Andy Kaufman. So,
So I don't want to give it away because you're not giving it away, but when you
yeah.
see Andy Kaufman, you ask yourself, how did such a low budget movie hire that many extras? They basically dressed him up like all the other people who were supposed to be there and had him just show up and pretend to be them while Larry was filming it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That
that's
makes a
right.
lot of sense. Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that gets you beaten about the head and shoulders with a billy club if they find out about it. But apparently they did.
What's there? There's a lot. Oh God, I had written it down, but there's some sort of line. Oh my God, I really wish I had written it down, but it was something like, uh, don't mess this up for the Irish. They've been through enough, or something like this. That I don't know. It's really funny. But anyways, yeah, great movie, great script, great direction. Really just yeah, kind of a bonkers movie that goes places you wouldn't expect,
Mm-hmm.
as with any Larry Cohen film.
Yep.
And speaking of people that are bonkers and go places you wouldn't expect, Bill, what's your first pick this week?
Well, hey, if I'd known you were going to do God Told Me To, I just would have packed up on Larry Cohen stuff. But
Well,
instead,
there's still time.
I decided to pick a theme, a group of manly men who I don't think get enough credit. Working hard so that others may sleep peacefully at night. I'm talking, of course, of mercenaries. Yep, paid mercenaries, killers for hire, soldiers of fortune. Um, I don't want to speak out of school because these guys seem angry and they're weaponized, but these don't seem like the nicest people on earth. Like if I were to make a generalization, I'd say that mercenaries are probably not really good people. And yet, much like hitmen, movies love to make mercenaries with a heart of gold. Yeah, he's a
Mhm.
mercenary, but really he doesn't like it, and he wishes he could. Blah 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 blah. So my first one is The Dogs of War from 1980, directed by John Irvin, and it's got Christopher Walken, and that's really all I need to say. It's got Christopher Walken as a soldier of fortune, and if you get the cover, look at the gun he's holding. It's the greatest gun ever. There is no greater gun than the gun
Mhm.
that Christopher Walken is hefting on the cover of Dogs of War. It's a gun. It's like something a superhero would have. That you could just put here. When I
It's
press.
just
Yeah, yes.
this is the most. I just looked it up. This is the most '80s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is the most '80s thing ever.
Greatest 80s. I mean, that gun, it can shoot, smoke rounds, laser beams, thermonuclear. It's like Hawkeye's arrows. It's just the greatest thing. And you're like, that can't actually be in the movie. Yes, it is. And he plays a mercenary who takes on this assignment to kind of let me see. See, I get this mixed up with the other movie too. I think he's trying to break a guy out of jail. The people he's working for are scumbags, and they hire him because they figure he's a scumbag. But he's got a code. That's right. He's got a code and an amazing gun. So it's just pure kick-ass Dogs of War stuff. And Christopher Walken, this is when he's young and really just coming. It was before he became Christopher Walken. And Christopher Walken is the greatest, but this is just early stuff, and it's a lot of fun. So if you like your action and your mercenaries that have a code, here you go, and just stick with it till the last 20 minutes when they whip out the big gun. So that's from 1980, and yeah, it started the 80s on a good note right there. We knew we were in for a great decade of ridiculous action movies. I will send this off to the lovely Renee.
Oh, well, thank you very much. So, last week I recommended a movie that really creeped me out when I was a kid. It was Alligator.
Hmm.
I decided to stick with the movies that really creeped me out theme. And I'm going to start with a movie from 2001. It is a Japanese horror film called Pulse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this movie is about a group of young adults are being kind of tormented by this online entity. They're they this person goes missing, and then he find out he had unalived himself, and they're just kind of trying to figure out what's going on and dealing with this strange, almost like a computer virus in a way. And it's there's a lot of social commentary about it, but mostly there's a lot of really creepy bits in this movie, and some of those will stay with you. And that is my recommendation. The movie is called Pulse, and you can watch that on Tubi and Hoopla and Roku and Vudu and AMC Plus.
I just want to interject one note. If you're looking for this film, make sure you start up the Japanese one and not the American remake, which is absolutely
Should
unwatchable.
go without saying.
Yes, I'm terribly
And-
sorry. Yes, do make sure that you are watching the 2001 version, not the 2006 version. If you see Kristen Bell, you have gone in the wrong direction.
Which is something I wouldn't normally say, but it's true.
Right.
Yeah.
In this case,
Yeah.
it is. Oh
You
god.
might also find it under the name Cairo with a K, Kairo.
And on that note, do you have any recommendations for us?
Why I do, Renee. In fact, it's your favorite subject of all. It's little children.
Oh god.
That's not my theme, but that's what this first film deals with. It's about this couple that they tragically miscarry, and they find out they can't have children. So they go to the local Catholic orphanage run by the nuns, who just happen to be pretty strict, and they hear this beautiful organ music playing, and even though the kids are a little older than they'd want, they find these two fraternal twins. I'm assuming they're twins. I don't know, but they're fraternal twins because it's a boy and a girl. It's Tin and Tina, showing on Netflix. And they adopt these two sweet little children, take them home, and that's it. Everything's fine, and they're sweet, wonderful little children.
The end.
Well, all right. They just
Oh.
they just happen to look like rejects from the leftovers from Village of the Dam. But they're actually what's interesting about this film is, yes, it's a evil little child movie, or is it? Because the question of whether the children are evil, they're just very, very religious and very dedicated and it's a question of are they actually evil? What's intent, right? Matter of intent. So I liked it because it's quite different. The kids are creepy as fuck. And I think we were screaming at the screen the second the kid showed up. Kill them now! Just kill the kids, kill them now before they kill you. And but it's pretty fun. So that's Tin and Tina, showing on Netflix. And speaking of creepy little children, who do I pass this to? Does it Zach? I believe.
Yeah.
I guess I won't take it personally since you didn't actually know who you were sending it to with that intro. Okay, well, it turns out that my second recommendation actually kind of jives with Bill's first recommendation because my recommendation also features Christopher Walken, not young '80s Christopher Walken, but old 2000s Christopher Walken. But this is actually something I know I'm late to the game here. I know I'm late to the party. I know this is it's kind of silly to recommend things that are like insanely popular, but I'm going to do it anyways because I kind of slept on this TV show I'm about to recommend, and that's because I did not realize it is one of the best horror shows of the last decade. That's right, it's one of the best horror shows, and if you're a horror fan, maybe you skip this one because I don't know, maybe you like exclusively watch horror stuff. But this is actually a very terrifying show. I'm, of course, talking about the Apple TV or Apple Plus or whatever the hell the service is called, original Severance, which is if you're not familiar, for like the two people who haven't heard of this show, it's all about a new technology where you can go into work, and specifically these are people that work at a job that their work is supposed to be like high security. You're not supposed to, they're trying to keep things under wraps. So the idea is that you have a little device implanted into your brain, and it basically breaks off your work self from your other self. And then when you get into the elevator at the end of the day to go home, you switch over to your outside of work self, and you don't remember anything about work. This is obviously kind of a science fiction-y theme, or a science fiction-y plot, but it's like I said, it is actually terrifying because when they get into the basically the idea that the work half basically they only exist to work and they're stuck at their job for the entirety of their existence. So it's kind of scary when you think about it that way. Also, I really love it because this is I thought it was horrifying. It's really well done. It's really kind of dark. It does have some comedic moments, but it stars Adam Scott, who, even if you're not familiar with his name, you probably recognize him. He's a comedian. He's been in a ton of stuff, and I'm trying to think of actually speaking of Kristen Bell, he was in The Good Place, among other things. But it is also I think a majority of the episodes. I don't think all of the episodes, but a majority of the episodes actually directed by Ben Stiller. So he's obviously known for his comedy, but. So, and I should also mention, it's got a bunch of great performances, but it's also got John Turturro and Patricia Arquette in it, and like I mentioned, Christopher Walken. So, great show if you're one of the 5 people who haven't watched it. It is on Apple TV or Apple Plus or whatever the hell that service is called, but you can, pro tip, you can do a free month subscription, I think, if you go to the website and you haven't subscribed before. So, my recommendation is to do that. Watch this, unsubscribe. Jesus Christ, you don't want to give money to Apple, because I know you're probably saving up for those $5,000 VR glasses now. But anyways, speaking of people, I wish I could forget when I go home. No, I'm just kidding. Bill, what's your second recommendation?
Well then, continuing with Mercenaries.
I kid.
Manly, yeah. We kid because we love. Manly Men, and this one actually, what a cast, what a freaking cast. Oh, by the way, Dogs of War is on Tubi, of course. This one is on Peacock, and check out this cast. Okay, we got Richard Burton, Richard Harris, Roger Moore, Artie Kruger, Stuart Granger, Jack Watson, Frank Finley, the guy from Life Force. I mean, you're watching this film, it's like, that's the guy from Life Force. That's the other guy from Life Force. Good God, this is the most British film ever. Yes, it's 1978's The Wild Geese. And it's about a bunch of mercenaries. Well, they're all retired, but Richard Burton is offered like this really good deal to get this head of an African country who's there's been a violent revolution. He's been deposed. These British mining interests want to get him out of the country so they could put him back in because, the rebels are kind of screwing with their plan to pillage the country. And so he accepts this, and now he's got to get his team back together because they're all retired. The average age of these mercenaries has got to be over 50. If they recruited me, I'd be the spry one that they call the kid. It's great. So they get a bunch of these old farts that are totally out of shape and have not been mercenarying around for a while. And they come from all different groups. Oh, there's the South African bigot, and there's the gay drill sergeant. It's actually fairly progressive for 1978. And there's the guy who we all know is going to die, because when we meet him, he's happily retired, he's got a kid, and he says something to Richard Burton along the lines of, if anything happens to me, you got to promise to take care of my kid. All right, listen, you don't have to be a screenwriter. No, you don't drop that bombshell in a movie unless you're going to pay off later on. But, maybe there's some folks who don't know that the guy wearing the red shirt's going to die in Star Trek, and this will come as a huge shock to them. So they get there, and they're really good at what they do. They're using things that no real mercenary would use, like crossbows and whatever. They needed Chris Walken's gun. And they managed to break this guy out. And halfway through the movie, here comes the airplane to pick them up. And just when it's about to land, whoop, off it goes, because it turns out that the mining interests back in England made a deal with the rebels, and they don't really need this guy anymore. And they certainly don't need these guys who are probably going to expect to get paid. So F them. And now it's basically the March of the 10,000. They gotta fight their way out of Made-Upistan, whatever this country is. And all these guys are coming after them, and now they're on the run, and they've lost the element of surprise. They're also trying to keep this guy alive, who's been pretty badly injured. And it's just great. It's got a high body count. Don't fall in love with any of your favorites here. This isn't a George R.R. Martin joint, but don't fall in love with them because they ain't gonna last. There's not a whole bunch of them left by the time we finally make it back. But it's got the conceits that I love. Like, again, the mercenary with the heart of gold. When we first see Roger Moore, he's like making some drug dealer eat his own heroin because the girl died, because he's cool like that. And yes, the save the cat moment, kill the drug dealer moment. It's a classic trope. I just love it. It's great. It's really really cool. They couldn't. It's a little controversial. They shot it in South Africa. Of course they did, and it spawned a sequel or two that wasn't very good. But yeah, you just love these guys. Now, interestingly, I'm thinking the drinking on this film must have been off the charts, but no, apparently Richard Burton and Richard Harris were on the wagon, which must have made for. Yeah, how is that? It's possible because they had the foresight not to hire Oliver Reed to play a role in this, because then they would have all been found pickled and dead in the jungles of South Africa. And he would have been great in this movie too, but they knew they were already playing with fire. So there you go. It is on Peacock, The Wild Geese. Just lots of good, fun, rip-roaring time. Watch this, and then watch Zulu, and then watch Zulu Dawn, and then there's nothing like these British action stuff. They don't really make them much anymore, and I suppose if you want to say, oh, they're problematic, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, sure. But, just close your eyes and enjoy it. A lot of fun. Wild Geese. And speaking of wild, back to Renee.
Well, thank you very much. So my next recommendation is about a cursed video. And if you watch it, you'll die 7 days. And of course, the movie I'm talking about is A Few Brains More. Oh, wait, no, I'm just kidding.
Oh boy.
I'm so sorry. I had to do it. I'm so sorry.
I would be so dead at this point.
My recommendation is, of course, the movie Ring or Ringu. But yeah, so this movie is from 1998 and it is called Ring. And it's about a mysterious video. Just like I said, that there's a rumor going around that if you watch it, you will die 7 days. And a journalist has tasked herself with finding out, the origins of this. And then, of course, there's some things that happen along the way that motivate her to really figure this situation out. And it's a very good movie and it really creeped me out. And I remember that after I watched it, I had to sleep with the TV on for like a week because if the TV is already on, it can't turn on by itself. Yeah.
Sound logic.
So yeah, you can watch this movie on Shudder or Tubi, of course, and Zach's favorite streaming service, the Arrow Player, and
Oh, yeah.
AMC Plus. Yeah, a couple other places too, but those are the important ones. So yeah, so Paul, what's your second recommendation?
Well, thank you, Renee. Well, my first recommendation dealt with a couple of evil or possibly not evil children. This one instead, it's about a couple of clowns, a couple of bumbling, goofy clowns who can't seem to do anything right. Right, that's exactly right. It's White House Plumbers on Max, which used to be known as HBO Max. It's a short. It's only 5-episode series, and it stars Woody Harrelson as E. Howard Hunt and Justin Theroux as G. Gordon Liddy, and it is a hoot. I mean, they play them as so those who are not familiar, these are the people who are sort of behind the Watergate break-in, and they play them as the bumbling fools they are. I mean, it is semi-broad, but I mean, it covers a lot of the real. It covers the real events and such. And Justin Theroux plays G. Gordon Liddy as the unhinged lunatic that he was in real life. And Woody Harrelson, it's interesting because he takes E. Howard Hunt, who was pretty much a despicable piece of shit. And by the end of it, he almost brings a little bit of pathos to the character, and you almost feel sorry for him until you realize that this guy's a piece of garbage. But it's really funny. It's really well done. It's got a great cast. Other people who show up in it are Donna Hall Gleason as John Dean, Toby Huss as James McCord. You've got Judy Greer as Fran Liddy, G. Gordon Liddy's wife. She's an absolute hoot in it. You even have anyway, you got a ton of people. It's really fun. It's really well worth watching, especially if you remember those times. But it's real interesting. It's always a little weird too when Woody Harrelson plays a character that is possibly tangentially connected to the Kennedy assassination. Apparently, E. Howard Hunt on his deathbed confessed to being involved in it, though there's some speculation his kids manipulated him to say that. But they kind of play that up a little bit in the series. And while Woody Harrelson's actual father was a hitman who was tied at one time to some conspiracy theories as well. So about the JFK assassinations. That's always a little fun. But anyway,
he had a heart of gold, though. So
no, apparently he was a piece of shit too. But
so disappointing.
Yeah,
a disgrace to the profession.
Yeah, this is a really fun series, though. I highly recommend. It's only 5 episodes. You're like, wow, it's all done, but it's really worthwhile. There's no in front, just like there's no HBO in front of Max anymore. So it's White House Plumbers on HBO Max.
I'm looking at I've had my eye on this. Has been on my list. I haven't gotten a chance to watch it yet, but maybe I will because it's got one of the White House plumbers themselves, Frank Sturgis. It's played by Mr. Kim Coates, whose performance I absolutely adore from as the drifter in 1995's Waterworld. So that's right. It's been a minute since I mentioned Waterworld, guys. Sorry, I just had to get it in there.
No, that's great. I'm glad you could find a connection. So
yeah, always.
Oh wow, I'm just cruising through Facebook here, and I'm seeing all these pictures of me in that tux, and there seem to be 2 variations. One, I look pretty dapper, and the other, I look like frickin' John Fetterman.
I thought they were going to tie this to the White House Plumbers, but that's.
I was going to say, what is going on here? Oh,
nah, just random.
He's just trying to cut it off before I could sing something.
Yeah, that was
Was there something you want to sing, Bill? Is there?
Who let the
What?
dogs of war out? Woo, woo, woo,
Oh
woo.
my god.
Well, I mean, if no one else has anything, I've got a great song by
Of course you do.
Mike,
Go ahead.
the Mike Curb Congregation, which is definitely related. Reaching out to find a way to make tomorrow a brighter day, making dreams reality. More than ever, Nixon now for you and me.
For the weekend of June 9th, Bill recommended The Dogs of War, available on Tubi and Pluto, and The Wild Geese, available on Peacock, Tubi, the Roku channel, Fandor, and Plex. Paul recommended Tin and Tina, available on Netflix, and White House Plumbers on HBO Max. I recommended Pulse, available on Tubi, the Roku channel, Hoopla, Vudu, and Plex, and Ringu, available on Tubi, Shudder, Screambox, and the Arrow Player. Zachary recommended God Told Me To, available on Shudder, Amazon Prime, and Pluto, and Severance on Apple TV+. I literally
Wow.
Thank you
kept
very
waiting
much.
for you to break into All Star.
Yeah, me too. It's like, please, any moment now. That
man.
does
Hey, I
remind me.
was practicing this one. Shelly was like, "Are you
Oh.
practicing singing?" And I'm like,
Oh, jeez, really? This is you after your practice.
Oh my god.
Bad enough.
Yeah, you should have heard it before.
It's because I was
Yeah.
listening to a version on YouTube which is like a little warped, so it's like Nixon now. It's kind of like it's not. Yep, that's it. Yep, that's it.